Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to get a sense, as someone who's a full supporter, I heard some of the comments earlier that suggests that this is somehow wasteful, that this is an effort at stimulus. Seems to me it's an effort at the future economy of this country. Just look at China. It understands how it is making its investments in such a way that it's going to yield enormous economic opportunities for that country, and it is readying itself for fulfillment of its capacity in this century. And so I think it's in that context that we would look at this, understanding that these are about investments that yield huge dividends in the long run, and that leverage our opportunity to attract the private sector. I remember in my days in the House of Representatives when I sat on the Transportation Committee, and if you came to visit what was then my district and now, of course, in my state, you would have seen abandoned railroad yards up and down the Hudson waterfront overlooking at Midtown Manhattan. And it was the effort of myself and others who created an infrastructure and a high-speed, non-polluting light rail line along that same waterfront, and working to create sewerage infrastructure and whatnot that now has a multi-million-dollar rateable base all up and down that waterfront, created tens of thousands of new jobs, and created an economic synergy in the region that is probably, even in this current challenging economy, that is second to none. And that was based in the first instance upon an investment in infrastructure. So it seems to me that the dividends that are yielded is rather significant and more than pays back on the investment. So if we look at it in that way and eliminate the criticisms just on a partisan basis, my question goes, how does a national infrastructure bank help us, particularly when we have large, important national projects of national significance? And I'll just cite one right now. I have labored very long and hard, along with Senator Lautenberg, to have a new Trans-Hudson Tunnel created from New Jersey to New York. It is the largest single federal investment in our history. It creates 6,000 construction jobs, and it ultimately generates, by every analysis, anywhere between 40 and 50,000 new permanent jobs. Now, unfortunately, our governor is in the midst of trying to cannibalize the state's contribution to that in order to fund his state transportation trust fund, but in the process, we'll lose the leverage of billions of dollars and the creation of an infrastructure project that has been noted as nationally needed and significant and has a ripple effect in our economy of huge proportions. So part of the challenge has been moving that project from conception to where we are today, which has already started. How do you envision a national infrastructure bank being able to help us with projects of national significance move more efficiently?
I'll respond to that. I mean, you know, as you mentioned, Senator, the ARC project is the largest commitment the Federal Transit Administration has ever made to any single project, and that's something that we hope has a future. I think we're all going to find out in the next month. That was a really hard thing to fit into the budget of the Federal Transit Administration, and it's going to create, you know, that's a big lump of cash flow going out multiple years. Having a national infrastructure bank hopefully gives another window for folks who have those very large but very transformative projects to go to in a way that allows the sort of more bread and butter run-of-the-mill stuff to be funded out of the regular budget in a normal way. And then the question would really be, that project has high costs but huge benefits given the number of people who will use it, but there's a project in Florida and there's a project in Texas and a project elsewhere, and those will all go in and their evaluations will get put together. But that really, to our point of view, it means that the infrastructure bank has got to sort of be big enough that it can handle these big projects. And, you know, and right now, you know, the TIFIA program we have, which gives out loans for these programs, we tend to do 200 million, 400 million, 600 million is a really big loan out of there. And you can do some good stuff with that, but you don't do these big transformational things at that price tag. So that's, I think, part of what we're seeing. We just need the magnitude's got to be sufficient to the costs of these big transformative projects. They're in the many billions now. That's just the reality of today.
Yeah, now I just hope that as we look at this after the vetting goes through and the determination is made of what's a project that's worthy of being funded, that we would look also at the mechanism of streamlining a process that ensures that we can, in essence, make the project a reality in a more cost-efficient manner. In my mind, the bank can be a component of helping that become a reality as well. And finally, if I may, Mr. Chairman, Secretary Kruger, I mean, do we look at these investments from an economic paradigm that says they yield huge dividends and can be, in fact, part of creating a more robust economy for the future, or are we just looking at it as some road or highway or sewer system that we're dealing with?
Well, I think we look at investment in infrastructure now as helping us now and in the future. Our competitiveness will be improved in the future if we improve our infrastructure now. And given the underemployed resources we have currently in the construction sector, 17% unemployment rate for construction workers, Roy mentioned that their projects are coming in 20% below costs from what they expected. That's an indication of the unemployed resources we have in the sector. This is the right time to invest, but we're investing because of the benefits that are yielded for the future and how they'll help our country in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.